Welcome to Broken Soldier 101. I am your host and founder, Wendell C. Smith, who happens to be a disabled Vietnam-era veteran living with the symptoms of PTSD. I began Broken Soldier 101 with the intentions of giving as many veterans or anyone who suffers with PTSD a platform to vent and to share their experience, which is not an easy thing to do because if you're anything like me, you are reckless. I just happened to come out of my isolation in order to heal and give back. I share with others my example of day-to-day life living with PTSD. Let it be known that I am not a psychiatrist or trained therapist. My opinions are solely based on my personal struggles with PTSD. For me, it seems as if I am in the fight of my life. It seems that my emotions have waged a war against my sanity. Many things can trigger an outburst from within me. It can be smells, sounds, or witnessing distressing situations. Recently, I was overcome with emotions of fear, anxiety, and depression by being in the right place at the wrong time, which was my own bedroom. At first, the arguments seemed normal, like this is what couples do from time to time. Then they began to occur more frequently. The profane language and disputes got louder and more consistent throughout the day and during my resting periods. I began to feel surrounded by danger. It was as if fear had me bunkered down in a barbed wire covered trench. This triggered an onslaught of my traumatic event, and I reverted back to a threatening time in my life. I had to escape. I became super anxious as fight or flight activated my reflexes. I maneuvered out of the hostile environment by leaving the house and driving around in the middle of the night with nowhere to go. At this point, I was hypervigilant and desperately needed to calm down instantly. I craved immediate gratification from my feelings, so I started drinking. I drank as much and as fast as I could. I needed to forget the pain that I was feeling inside. Making no distinction between wine, liquor, and beer, soon I was a drunken mess. I had drowned myself in my sorrow and misery. It had been well over 2 years since my last episode, which is the reason why I left my apartment in New York City. I couldn't shake the feeling of impending doom. It was as if death was riding my shoulders in my small space. So I escaped to go into treatment at the Battle Creek VA Medical Center. However, this time was different. When I swallowed all my accomplishments down with that alcohol, I regurgitated a consciousness. Suddenly, I was reminded of the good things I had gained over the past year. I began to weigh the consequences of my actions. I had renewed relations with my family after years of distrust in my word. For the first time, I felt their support for the lifestyle I was living. I was now a part of my children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren's lives, and they only knew this sober man who had become such a big part of their lives. I had also formed associations and friendships with new positive people. I began to feel guilty at the thought of them finding out that I had given up and taken my life in a drunken stupor. For once, what someone else thought of me mattered. I actually cared about another person's opinion of me. I stood at attention and did an about face. I couldn't give up now. It had been a long, drawn-out battle to get where I was today. I hadn't made monetary gains. What I had was more valuable. I had self-respect and people that I cared for. I had a genuine regard for their insight and sought their appreciation of the progress that I had made. That last six-pack and that half a bottle of wine, I threw it in the trash. I had come too far to give up now. Today, I wanted to live, not destroy myself in my misery. I dreaded re-entering that battle zone, but I needed to overtake the enemy. When I entered the house, I was bombarded with stress, so I moved out. No explanations, no apologies. At that point, it was either me or them. My new surroundings are, I guess, tolerable, and I'll probably be here until I purchase my own house. I only share this episode in hopes of encouraging others who suffer with PTSD to do the same. My voice is all I have. Communication is a two-way process. There's input and feedback. I am looking forward to others sharing their experience with PTSD so that we can heal together. If you are in need of help with a distressing situation, you can always call the Veteran Suicide Prevention Hotline at either 988 choose option 1 or by calling 1-800-273-8255. If you just need to speak or reach out to another veteran, you can always find me at Heroes Corner, 4809 Eastern Avenue Southeast, Kentwood, Michigan, 49508. Thanks a lot for listening, and I look forward to responding to you guys' comments. Hoorah!